Assassin's Creed without main targets is like a wizard without powers, just a guy in a robe waving a pointy stick. And over the course of 18 years since the franchise hit our home entertainment systems, we've had the chance to hunt dozens upon dozens of Templars across time. Each target within Assassin's Creed, whether it is a main target relevant to the story, or someone you're supposed to hunt down as part of a side mission, has thrown us into an interesting and open stealth scenario in which it is up to us and our assassin skills to locate, reach, and put an end to that person's life. It's only natural then, given how human beings tend to be, that some players have found absolutely insane ways to kill a target in Assassin's Creed, doing things that most players aren't even aware you can do. Today I want to talk about 3 of the coolest, weirdest ways Assassin's Creed players have killed a main target in a mission, and if this video does well I'll make sure to find more for a future video. All of these, when I first started playing Assassin's Creed, were types of kills I didn't even know were possible to pull off. And it requires a level of creativity that you have to respect from people who have taken the game to its limits and see what's possible within the framework of each of the games. It's honestly impressive to me how people even figure out you can do this, because I've since then discovered that you can do these things and try to recreate them myself, like recreate these kills, but to figure out it's possible in the first place is nothing short of remarkable, and you have to spend a crazy amount of hours just testing stuff like this. So let's get to it. Number 1 on my list is a type of kill you can do in Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Now for those who don't know, Assassin's Creed is aimed to be pretty realistic up until around Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Realistic in terms of its writing, its setting, its set pieces, and in terms of fall damage specifically. In Assassin's Creed Syndicate, if you fall from a tall height, you will die, as any normal human being would. If you fall from high enough, you die, and that's something that they kept in all the AC games until the recent ones, and AC Syndicate was no exception. So far, so logical. This is one of the things that made the OG game so grounded. Even if your assassin was some near superhuman athlete, he would still be immortal and could die from the same or similar conditions as any other human being would. Except, in Assassin's Creed Syndicate, players figured out that if you time your fall correctly to land on top of a carriage, you take absolutely no damage at all, meaning players could do ludicrous things with the Fry twins, like this player, appropriately called Stab Guy, did. So this kill takes place during a mission where you have to kill a Templar called James Brudenell. I don't know how to pronounce that name. In this mission, Stab Guy goes through an extensive, multiple-step process setup in order to drag his target out into the open. And then, using Jacob, he climbs Big Ben all the way to the top and begins to zipline across to the other building. Using this glitch that we spoke about earlier about falling on a carriage and negating all fall damage, he does, well, I'll just let you watch. Pretty insane if you ask me, and this kill was aptly called the Carriage Strike, which is a more modern and AC Syndicate dependent version on a very old school type of target kill, which is actually going to take our second spot on the list of crazy target kills. More than one specific kill, this is a style of kill that can be done in multiple games, but I'll show you my favorite examples. This technique is called the Eagle Strike, and for this technique to work you need to be familiar with 2 mechanics in Assassin's Creed, which we sadly don't really have in our modern versions of the game. One is the back eject, or sometimes a manual jump depending on how you're doing this Eagle Strike, and the other is our glorious catch ledge. Back eject is pretty self-explanatory. You press jump with no directional input when you are hanging on a wall with your assassin, and your assassin will jump backwards in space. When you're falling, you can press catch ledge, which was a mechanic that slowly got phased out as I spoke about, that allowed you to manually catch onto a wall or any handhold your assassin could interact with, in order to negate that fall damage during a descent. And I mean you could negate all fall damage. So similar to the carriage landing, negating fall damage was a perfect excuse for players to come up with some crazy stuff that defied all laws of physics. There are 3 kills that are infamous within a very niche portion of the community for doing what was dubbed the Eagle Strike, where the assassin character launches himself from an impossible height, catches a ledge right above the unaware target, and then air assassinates him. When you can pull this off, it's absolutely glorious. Depending on which Assassin's Creed game you try and do it in, it's going to be more reliable to do or not, because again, the older games and the older you go are more consistent with their physics, so back ejects are always going to cover the same distance, catch ledge is always going to act the same way, and then you have more modern games like Assassin's Creed Unity where it's kind of like a lottery, but it still can be done. So I'll show you 3 examples of this being done. In Assassin's Creed 1, it was first done when assassinating William de Montferrat. Altair, the best assassin of all time by the way, leaps from the highest tower, falling hundreds of meters before saving himself from certain death thanks to his iron fists and disregard for the laws of physics. And from here, he strikes. You also need to know that in Assassin's Creed 1 you do have a shortened version of the air assassination, which is why stuff like this is possible. Our friend Stab Guy from the kill earlier before once again returns in Assassin's Creed Black Flag to do a nautical themed Eagle Strike.
anchor before dawn!
Remember the gift you gave me?
Just watching this footage gives me vertigo, honestly. But this one takes advantage of the increased range Black Flag had with air assassinations. And finally, we have my favorite Eagle Strike of all time. Probably because it's the first I ever saw. It takes place in Assassin's Creed Unity, and I tried it myself in my maxed out AC Unity Assassin video. And this was the kill that I first saw when I came across the idea of an Eagle Strike, and I learned this kill from a user called Altair Auditori. Amazing name, by the way. So to pull this off, you have to get detected by your target, Sever, which is the first target in the game, and you have to drag him outside to a very, very specific place on the map, far away from his spawn point within the cathedral. It takes a lot of time, and it's tricky as well because AC Unity back ejects can be pretty inconsistent. Once you get it right, you get this absolute beauty. So that's the Eagle Strike. It's something people have done in many Assassin's Creed games, and it's something that I recommend you try and do as well, just because it's so fun, and when you pull it off you feel like an absolute god. Finally, we have the third entry in this list, and we have to go back again to AC Syndicate from the first example. The reason why is because Syndicate gave quite a few tools to manipulate AI that weren't available in other AC games, and it gave us the opportunity to create scenarios that can only be created within Assassin's Creed Syndicate. It kind of takes inspirations from games like Hitman in terms of how much you can manipulate the environment. Obviously nowhere near to the same extent, but it just gave you much more ability to be creative with your kills. So this assassination takes place in the Bank of England. Your target is usually in a room surrounded by his henchmen, and a regular player would just jump in, air assassinate him, or enter combat to kill him. And then the corridor scene would play and the mission would be over. But not our friend Stab Guy, who's featured twice in this video already. He somehow figured out that there was an open elevator that served as an entry for Jacob to enter through the underground of the bank. And he also figured out that its ledges do not auto-stop people getting thrown past them like they might on rooftops or trying to do a manual jump in Syndicate. So, taking inspiration from the Hitman games and other stealth games, Stab Guy got creative. He grabbed his target, still alive, walked him up the stairs and down the corridor, and pushed him down the elevator shaft to create one of the silliest and most unique kills in Assassin's Creed Syndicate, a kill he called Elevator Shafted. So those were some of the ways that you can kill targets in Assassin's Creed that I find pretty wacky and crazy, and honestly admirable, just because it's weird that you can figure out how to do this in the first place. The creativity and the mastery over these games some of these people have just don't cease to amaze me. I just wanted to share it with all of you, and there are many interesting ways to increase the replay value of these games, and figuring out crazy ways to kill targets is one of them, but there's other ways like playing without an interface. I made a whole video talking about why you should play Assassin's Creed without the use of a HUD, which you can watch now.